Welcome to PenTellectual Conversations. You've just stepped into a space where the mind meets the soul. A place where poetry and conversation collab to form a silky, smooth vibe that flows like smooth jazz. Dope poetry, deep dialogue, and unapologetically real energy. So pour your favorite drink, light one up if that's your rhythm, and let the world outside melt away. So sit back, relax, and let's get into tonight's hot topic.
What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of PenTellectual Conversations. I am your host, Paul Cram, the poet. And tonight we honored to sit with the voice that's been carrying rhythm, truth, and fire for over 2 decades. Douglas G. Cala is not just a poet. He's a storyteller who has etched his words across 4 continents and stages that most artists dream of gracing. From the hollowed mic of the Nuyorican Poets Cafe to the buzz and energy of busboys and poets, his verses have carved out spaces in both intimate coffee houses and legendary venues alike. But Douglas doesn't stop at the page or the stage. Off the mic, he's a multimedia IT specialist, a creative technician with the same precision behind a camera or a console as he is with the pen. Tonight, we dive into the world of a man who merges art with technology, performance with presence. So everybody, please, let's welcome to the PenTellectual stage, Mr. Douglas G. Cala. And welcome, man. How are you doing today?
I'm good. That was an amazing intro, man. Thank you so much.
No doubt. But man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. You say 20 years of performing. That's a lifetime in the poetry community. So how has your voice evolved from your early pieces to your work today?
That's a really great question. Well, I first started when I got on the scene when I was 14 years old, at a local coffee shop in my hometown, which is Staten Island, New York. At this coffee shop called the Muddy Cup Coffee House. It was like a bohemian cafe, very like Lower East Side Village kind of feel to it. And I first stepped on the mic in high school, and I actually got the advice from someone in one of my English classes to join up with this open mic, and I went for the first time, and everybody there was in like their 20s and 30s. So I was like the young punk, coming up in the ranks. And but they actually wound up really embracing me. But I was very nervous at that time. On the stage, I was very jittery. I had a stutter. It was a lot to overcome during that really pivotal, during that very pivotal age period, But my voice really progressed rapidly because I jumped on the mic fairly quickly, and then I would go every Tuesday night, week after week after week for it wound up being about 3 years. So in that span of time, I evolved a lot. By the time those 3 years were over, I was like, I have to explore the rest of the city and just do my thing,
But trust me, I know that feeling, man. I remember the first time I was on stage, legitly was in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I was so nervous. But like after that first show, it was like, yep, this is what I'm meant to do. And that's just been taking off ever since.
Yeah.
So you've had poetry published across 4 continents. So what do you think makes poetry such a borderless universal art?
Well, to me, it's like, with poetry, it's like there's so many forms, there's so many ways of expressing it, there's so many like aesthetic differences between poetry. Like, you can vary the meter, you can vary the structure, you can vary the theme, the content, if it's political, if it's emotional. if it's unique to one country, like if you want to get your work translated, from English to another language. I mean, I think poetry has the power to break all barriers, regardless of that particular place's political persuasion or economic persuasion. In my study of the craft, I've always thought that, take James Baldwin, for instance. Like James Baldwin, he moved to Paris, to pursue his art in a more impactful way. So that's just one example. Like I think that poetry and writing in general, but poetry also takes, especially with the internet now, with Instagram, with YouTube, with button poetry, with all these places, there's so many more outlets to get your poetry out there than there ever was before. Even when I was coming up, like YouTube was in its infancy, like YouTube, in like 2007, 2008, 2009, like I was still in my first 5 or 6 years doing spoken word, and like I would do YouTube videos. I mean, they didn't get like crazy major hits, but like they did generally pretty well. And then, I got some opportunities out of that. And I think any poet who's worth his salt it's also important to know the tools around you to get your voice where it needs to be,
Makes so much sense. And that's part of the reason why I really love this podcast and other shows like this, because you have poets who are on the grind and they get to get their voice heard and things like that. So like I definitely feel what you're saying. I've heard this before about this place called New Rican. And I've
Yep.
also heard of Buzz Boys and Poets. So tell me, what goes through your mind in that first breath before each poem begins when you're on a stage like that?
Oh man, I mean, in both instances, like the New Rican, like when I first was there, I met one of the founders. He passed away, but Miguel Algarin, he founded he was one of the founders of the cafe in the 1970s. And I met him sometime before he passed away. His birthday actually just passed. It was on September 11th. And in those spaces, it's like you really have to, especially with the New Rican, you have to just, when you're on that stage, you have to just realize how many other like living legends pass through those same halls, and the history there. There's like over 50 years of history in that space. And it's like the New Rican hosted everyone from like, Sonia Sanchez to, Saul Williams to, all these huge names. And it's like you have to just, if you ever get the opportunity to be on that stage, you have to be firm in the fact that you, especially in the New York scene, like you consider yourself having made it. Like you made it to a certain point in your poetic career to be there. Same thing for Busboys and Poets. I mean, that's another very popular venue and another popular space, and it's a popular contingent of poets. And it's like they get a lot of living legends there too. So it's like you really have to keep in mind, like, wow, like my words are this, my convictions and my tenacity and my drive and my talent, is enough to be in this space, and like to honor the legacy. It's really all about legacy also. Like I believe in legacy. I believe in my own legacy. I believe in my forebears' legacy, people who paved the way for me to do what I do. So like whenever I've been on those stages, that's what I keep in mind at all times.
Man, I wanna touch one of those stages. New York is one of those places that I definitely want to spit. Man, I told a lot of people that my dream is to place my feet on the Apollo stage.
Oh,
Like
hell
I
yeah, man.
really, man, I want to put my feet there so bad. I don't care if it's 3 people in the audience, bro. I want to spit off the Apollo stage.
Yeah. Yeah, Apollo is the
In your opinion,
yeah.
what's the responsibility of a poet in times of social unrest and rapid change?
Let's see. To me, I think the role of a poet in terms of social unrest and social change and civil unrest is basically, to me, is to illuminate the truth amidst all the misinformation that's out there. Because especially in our current age where there's like clickbait and there's doctored videos and there's deep fakes and there's stuff like that, and you don't know what is a verified news source anymore sometimes. Like, I mean,
Yes.
there are verified news sources, of course, but there's a lot of other, there's like blogging and there's these like, you know, other there's so much content out there. And I think the role of a poet is to basically cut through all of that and to just tell it, like, to be as informative and correct in your statements as possible. Particularly if you're addressing an issue that's very sensitive. Like, say if you're going to talk about the, like what happened with Charlie Kirk that just happened, right? Like, say if you're going to write a poem about that, like, you have to be completely informed. Like, you have to actually know what went down, the specifics of everything, and you have to do your research too. I believe in research when it comes to my poetry, honestly. Like, especially when it's historical, if I'm talking about something that that other people may not know about, like, you know, like a tangential thing, like in history. Like, if I'm addressing something, I believe in doing your research first and foremost. And I also think that poetry is a unifying agent. And in these times, we need unity more than ever. Like, honestly, we need unity more than ever because there's so much division. Everything is divided. The economy is a mess. Politics are all over the place. People's allegiances are in every which way, you know, and poetry, and as the role of an artist, not just as a poet, but as an artist, is to carry the torch, you know, to bridge those divides, you know?
So for you, what has been more transformative for you personally? Like, was it publishing your work on the page or performing it live in front of audiences?
They both serve different thrills for me and different purposes for me. Like, I think performing for people is more immediate. Like, it's like sometimes when I do a performance, there are people who come up to me afterwards and they'll be like, "Oh man, like this line really hit me," or "the way you did this there," or "the way you talked about here," or I really felt this there," or, you know, "your stage presence was so, you know, the way you delivered this was," you know what I mean? Like I think I get more of a gut punch reaction when I perform live. Whereas when I get published, it's like, it's gratifying. Like, they're both very gratifying to me, but it's like getting published kind of like authenticates you as a writer. Cause it's like other people, especially other editors, you know, cause you know, editing is a whole other thing. Like, especially when an editor from a very prestigious magazine recognizes your work, and it's like, okay, like this, like that it's also a positive affirmation to me as a writer to see my work in print. Like, there's nothing better than that. But performing it at legendary venues or any venue or most any venue, and to see the responses that I get from people, that warms my heart. That does something for the soul. You know, so it's very different. I think it's. I mean, I both value them equally, but I think they both serve their own purpose for me, and they both give me, you know, a great sense of gratification, and, you know, they both really propel me forward to do more. You know,
That's what's up, man. I like this interview, man. Your questions are your answers are very, very deep, very informative. I have one more question before we get to the reason why people are here for this show today, man.
all right.
In your 20 plus year poetry journey, if it was all condensed into a single poem title, what would it be?
Into a single poem title? Oh man.
Yeah.
I got to think about this one a little bit. Let me see. Maybe from let me see. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Maybe through the different coasts, something like that. Because I've been to different coasts and stuff with my poetry. So maybe that would comprise, the entire gamut of where I've traveled as a poet. I don't know. I guess. I mean, that's a really hard question to answer. Like to kind of like distill it all into one thing. I don't know. It's really hard. But I think that's like a working title. That's basically a working title. Yeah.
It sounds like you got something to think about now.
Yeah. I sure do. Yeah.
Well, I'm getting ready to do at this moment is get myself removed from this stage, and we're going to let the people know exactly why they are here. So, for your first round, Mr. Doug, the mic is yours.
Okay. All right. So I can do how many? What, 3? Or?
Yep.
3. Okay, cool. All right. We'll do. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right. Here we go. This one is called... so this one is called Clash of Titans. And it's a signature piece of mine. It's an older piece of mine. It was published in the New Generation Beats anthology in, I believe it was 2024. I have 3 poems published in 3 different anthologies from that publication. But this one was published in 2024. It's called Clash of Titans. Berserker rage blooms like gladiators in a tireless fight, swinging archaic but powerful weaponry. Berserker rage blooms, battle scars worn by everyone, testaments of survival. Everywhere and nowhere simultaneously, mighty men fall every day, susceptible to poisonous logic that's damning civilization. Warbirds, tactical drones, not the answer, laying waste to innocence, civilian casualty on the uptick. For pointedly precise power plays, pack punches, fates decided with the immediacy of a swift gavel. Lock him away. Lock him away. Straight jackets aren't enough to contain turbulent minds. As one-side adjudicators think mental illness a myth, fair beaters jump turnstiles with reckless abandon. Inflation prices suffocate the impoverished vagabonds. Misplaced in a broken system, citywide mayors crackdown for berserker rage still blooms in communities, in nations as kids witness their parents flogged, strife that predates their lifetimes, trivialities enmeshing, therapy sessions on mute. Poet as prophet, poet as philosopher, poet as ideological disperser, poet as pedagogue, poetry as life's blood, poets as resistance fighters, poets as activists, poets as revolutionaries, poets as being held responsible for new ages, the solidification of axioms. Bandages come off, for there are now no wounds. That's the first one. I'm going to do a newer one. This one is called, I just wrote this maybe like a week ago. It's called From Mentor to Protege. Teach him the mighty ways of the pen. He is young, his mind elastic, his spine not yet broken by corruption's jadedness. Teach him the mighty ways of the pen. Allow him to forge brandished weapons to combat societal brainwash. He will not be euthanized by poisoned, unsterile needles before his due date dawns. Teach him the pen. He'll summon legions at his command, assembling flanks of a royal guard to silence reverberating war cries that shatter the spirits of the desperate. Teach him the mighty ways of the pen. Tutelage from a seasoned craftsman will offer him discipline. Defying, damaging damnation, his hair knotted but sinewy, his fingers grip the writing implement as a new age trailblazer. Teach him the mighty ways of the pen. You owe it to the next generation. You are obliged by your peers to impart a lifetime's worth of knowledge, distilling it, making it digestible, for his brain doesn't buffer like crashing computer systems, extracting large files. No dreaded blue screen of death yet. You will offer updates to his cranial cortex, running batch scripts to fortify his operating system, security, and new features alike. Teach him the mighty ways of the pen. He'll wake up with the roosters and call with the hens, breaking night to ensure his creation isn't held in captivity. No steel cages to contain his creativity. That's number 2. The last one I'm going to do for now. Let's see. Last one I'm going to do is called, let's see. I'm going to do this one. It's called When the Hawk is Flying Low. This is a more sort of political piece. I think you'll enjoy it. When the hawk is flying low, we united form a trifecta of physical power, as keen senses and majesty combine like interlocking Voltron parts. When the hawk is flying low, flocks fortuitously form focal points, brandishing lyrical gifts, acting as change agents that weave conjoined stories. When the hawk is flying low, we are a litany for a bell's resonance, overcoming hardship, cutting through the barbed wire of cancer, nullifying it. Let us ignite the raging torch that translates into re-energizing a reawakening, a salient, symphonic, sonic boom that thwarts establishment constructs. When the hawk is flying low, we rhythmically recuperate the untimely earth through valiant verse, healing the solar plexus, manifesting a nexus to higher living elevations. For when the hawk is flying low, we take on the characteristics of charms, of passels, of rookeries, of scolds, forming cohesive exaltations as we chant lamentations to espouse wholeness. By these measures fused, by the commitments of our tribal council, a groundswell emerges through positive intention. It blankets the unfolding universe and tips the favorable scales on the side of human rights and liberties. When the hawk is flying low, we cosmically ascend, reversing ill-fated fortunes, never fumbling at the goalpost, a ceaseless cause, beckoning harmony. Thank you. I can't hear you.
My bad. I was on mute. I'm surprised I didn't get popped. But one more time, let's give them a round of applause, everybody, man. Snaps and claps. You know how we do it here at PenTellectual Conversations, man. But that was dope. That was a real dope set, man. That last piece before we go pay some bills. What inspired that piece? Like the hawk is flying low. That started off dope. Like
Thank
so,
you.
what
Thank
inspired that?
That is actually that's actually a phrase. Um,
Mhm.
it basically has to do with like when the hawk is flying low. Basically, it's like when there are like I guess there's when there's like when there's like divisive opinions. Like when
Mhm.
there's when the hawk flies low, like when things that are wrong are happening. Like how do you respond to that? It's like it's kind of like a turn of phrase, basically. So
Okay.
I ran with that. I just ran with that topic. I ran with that phrase, and I
So that
did the
ring.
repetition throughout to like revisit that phrase over and over again, and then extrapolate on it in each stanza. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Dope piece. Dope piece. Okay, so now we getting ready to go pay some bills real quick, and we're gonna start off with our sponsors for for tonight's episode, and we're gonna hear a couple commercials from our sponsors, starting with Marielle Shinobi of Poetry with his product of "I'm Not Toxic."
What? What is this? I'm not toxic. The dick is sir. What? Yep, so I got my own merchandise, and you can be not toxic. Let them know. Oh, you also got something for the women. We ain't got I'm not toxic. The pussy is. We got your cup heaters for the winter, and then we also got the water bottles for the summer because it does get hot out there, but you still gotta let them know that I'm not toxic. The whatever it is.
4 years ago, I created something close to my heart, the Curls and Convo Natural Hair Summit. And it's been truly amazing watching it grow into what it is today. This event is all about encouraging the community to embrace their natural hair, ditch the chemicals, and rock their curls with confidence. The goal? To uplift, empower, and celebrate our natural beauty while spreading awareness about natural hair justice. It's more than just an event. It's a movement. It's an extension of my brand, Designs by Deej. This summit creates space for real conversations, learning, and connection. Throughout the years, we've been so grateful to have some amazing support, including Tabitha Brown, who sponsored our event through her hair care brand, Donna's Recipe. Consider this your official invitation to the 4th annual Curls and Convo Natural Hair Summit. Grab your ticket on our newly designed website and join us for an evening full of inspiring conversation, expert advice from licensed hair care professionals, and community vibes that you don't want to miss. Saturday, October 4th, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. See you there.
All right, all right. Also, if you excuse me, we have me myself as being a sponsor, Desi Beats, Walking Erotica. If you're looking for any tracks or need something mixed and mastered, please reach out to him. Coastal Sunflowers Body Scrub, add the .com to get you some, and of course, uh, Natasha Inspired Crafts and Events, man. Anything you need, digital designs or things of that nature, T-shirts, mugs. Get at Yoshi. There's nobody better, and I love her to death. If you would like to be a sponsor of PenTellectual Conversations, if you would like to be a hot topic, if you would like to have your music promoted, or if you would like to purchase some merch, you can hit that QR code right there, or you can hit that link right there and go to the link tree and fill out the forms for all information that was just given to you. There is the Cash App if you would like to donate to PenTellectual Conversations, because we are not just a show, we are a movement, and a movement needs finance. Okay, so now we're going to get into our soundbite artist of the week. And I absolutely love her to death, man. Everybody, I like saying her name. I think she like me saying her name too. So we're going to listen to Flexin' by Miss Stina, baby. Let's hit it.
Hey, would you be upset if I told you we weren't going to the party together tonight?
Nah, babe. What you got going on? What we doing?
I mean, I'm going to the party, but shit, just not with you.
Okay. What do you mean?
I mean, you know things been rough with us lately, and I think, you know, it's not a better time than right now to tell you this, you know, that we're not going together.
So, this what we doing? Like, if you ain't going with me, then who you going with? You going with old girl Ashley?
I mean, it shouldn't really matter who I'm going with. Just know, you know, we not going together. I mean, it's over between me and you.
I mean, but since when though? Cause, you know, like, I thought we was good. You know, we 5 years into this thing and, you know, we've been rocking and then all of a sudden here you come with this?
I'm just saying, we've been rocking for a while. You know what I mean? This shouldn't be a shocker to you. You know what I mean? I just ain't want to keep, you know, dragging you along in this, you know. I just feel like it should just be over. We need to end this right now.
Oh, so that's what we doing. Okay, so I see you trying to flex right now. Is that what you're doing? You flexing?
I mean, if that's what you want to call it.
You say that I be flexing. 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 Well, let me get this dead weight up off my chest. And the way I'm curving is problems, it ain't no stressing. If you wanna leave, then leave, no second guessing. Cause I'm flexing, flexing, flexing. Boy, you say that I be flexing, 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 yeah. You say that I be flexing. Well, let me ask this question. Why you so pressing when I seen your ex-text message? Why you so concerned with who all I met entertain? Did you remember my name when I seen you in her face? Now why would I give you another chance to do what you wanna do, to have your cake and eat it too? Boy, you're so lame, boy, it's a shame that you think you can play these kind of games. Move it to the left, move it to the right. Don't even try to convince me to let you stay the night. Sick and tired of your mess, we'll do what I do best. Nothing about you changed, so it's time for me to show you how. You say that I be flexing. Well, let me get this dead weight up off my chest. And the way I'm curving is problems, it ain't no stressing. If you wanna leave, then leave, no second guessing. Cause I'm flexing, flexing, flexing. Boy, you say that I be flexing, 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 yeah. Explain something to me. I'm curious to see how old girl gon' act when she find out you're chasing me. You're wasting all your time, you're no longer mine. You're free to go do as you please, like Mary J, I'm just fine. There's nothing you can say that I haven't heard before. It's the same old routine, you lie so much that it's a chore. Hey, I need more. As a woman, I need more. Love me, respect me, and make me feel secure. There's no need for me to be the one to cater to your needs. There was no reciprocity. I was your girl, you were my world, but still decided to cheat. You say that I be flexing. Well, let me get this dead weight up off my chest. And the way I'm curving these problems, it ain't no stressing. If you wanna leave, then leave, no second guessing. Cause I'm flexing, flexing, flexing. Boy, you say that I be flexing, flexing, flexing. flexing. Yeah. Okay, bruh, you might as well face it. Do I need to copy and paste it? Make it plain for you to see that there is no more you and me. Real talk. Now let me state real facts. I was the one who had your back. I held you down, boost to the ground, but still to stop you from creeping around. I let you back in once. You're thinking that it would be different. Needed you to be consistent, but I still felt you drifting. If you fool me once, it's a shame on you, and if you fool me twice, it's a shame on me. Won't give another opportunity for you to woo me, then play me. Yeah. Right, okay. It's the same song of excuses, and you get no replay. There's nothing left to do that'll make me change my mind. You did the crime, now do the time if you excuse me. It's flexing. You say that I be flexing. Don't let me get this dead weight up off my chest. And the way I'm curving is problems, it ain't no stressing. If you wanna leave, then leave, no second guessing. Cause I'm flexing. Flexing. Boy, you say that I be flexing. Yeah.
That was Miss Dina, baby, with Flexing, man. Y'all hit her up on her IG or her Facebook and make sure you follow her for more music. Oh, man, we are back with our hot topic tonight. Douglas Cala, man, he's already set the stage on fire in that first round. Very, very knowledgeable individual, man. I still feel like I could talk to you for a long time, man. I don't know if you smoke, but I believe I can sit back and smoke and just have a whole conversation with you and be entertained like this. All right. So, some more questions before we have you blaze the stage again, man.
All right, yeah, go for it.
So, how do you decide when one of your poems are finished, or do you feel like a poem is ever truly done?
I've been asked this question before by some other of my friends and other poetry colleagues, and yeah, I've given it some thought. I think that I don't believe in performing your first draft. That's what I never do that. Like I always when I do an open mic, for instance, like I'll usually have done at least like 2 drafts of the piece, and then I'll showcase it, and then depending on if it hits or not, like if it's a hit, I'll keep it as it is. If I get a response that's like so, or I personally feel that I didn't deliver correctly, then I will go back and revise it again. So I don't think a poem I think a poem evolves over time the more you perform it, and depending on where you perform it and who you perform it for. So like there's so many ways of going about this. I think when I was younger, like I wouldn't perform any of the stuff that I wrote when I was like 18, 19 now, because it's not the same person that I'm not the same person that I was. It doesn't reflect who I am right now. It's like that person is like in a time capsule, and like I'm not going to go back and like dig that person up again. It's not work. I could look at it on my own personal time and be like, okay, like that's maybe that's who I was then, and I could look at it with my own eyes now. As someone in my 30s, I could be like, okay, like teenage me was going through this at that time, and then I could say, but what I'm trying to say is, a poem will always be. I think you can always go back and revise, but not to a point where it actually ruins the poem, because there's such a thing as over editing. Like if you over edit the shit out of it, or the whatever, then it will be like you might as well not have written it at all. Like
Oh, be comfortable. You can say all kinds of words here. You can say shit,
Okay.
fuck, damn. Yeah, it's whatever comes out, bro. You
Yeah, I
good.
wasn't
We
sure. I
grown.
wasn't sure. All right, okay.
No, yeah, we grown, bro. Um, how has time, whether it's aging, living, watching the world shift, how has any of that changed the themes of how you write?
Yeah. I think my own aging, I don't think has really impacted it as much. I just think I come from a more I think I'm more informed than I was back then. Like I've always been, I think, on the pulse of what's happening in the world. Like whether it be through other whether it be through witnessing things, being at certain at certain scenes of things that have been happening, whether it be through news, whether it be through hearing it from other people, whether it be from traveling, whether it be from I think the themes of my work have really grown. I think when I was first coming up, I was writing more like kind of angsty, like interpersonal, emotional work. I wasn't as topical as I am today. I think I've gotten a reputation for being more topical, and more and even more political sometimes. Like I think, but there's always I think at the heart of all my work, I think it always comes from an informative place. Like I never try and just shoot from my gut because then I'll come off as possibly being ignorant, and I try not to be ignorant. You know what I mean? Like I try that, especially around sensitive topics or things I'm not experiencing myself. Like for instance, like I have never addressed like physical disability in my poems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a physical disability. So it's like, and I've seen in the slam world, because I have slammed before. In the slam world, I see a lot of poets who will talk about a topic that they've never even experienced in their own lives just to advance themselves, just for points and just for prestige. And I don't believe in doing that. I think it's disingenuous. I think it's dishonest. And I think it's utterly fake. And I think if that's the way you're going to go about doing spoken word, I think you should. I think you really got to rethink your priorities when you do it. You know.
Speak on it. Like, and those of you who heard him say that, yeah, he said that. He meant that. Fuck you if you got mad. That's how it works. How do you balance vulnerability with performance when you know your words might cut deep, either cut deep into you or into your audience?
I balance vulnerability. Okay. I think what I ultimately do is I basically I think I have a bit of whenever I go into a new space to perform, like if it's a space I've never been to before, I will be very cautious about the poems that I'm about to do. Like I always try to read the room that I'm in. So if I'm going to be in a space that I have performed in before, I will talk to the organizer. I will maybe even talk to some of the audience members. I might, look around the room and say, okay, what is the configuration of the room? Like, is it more intimate? Is it of a bigger scale? How many seats is in it? Should I do crowd work? Should I interact with somebody directly? Like there are so many things that really come into play when you perform. And to manage your vulnerability, like there are sensitive topics that I've talked about. Like there are things that I have discussed about myself that I don't readily divulge to anybody. Like, but in a poetry format, I a lot of my work is very metaphorical and allegorical, and so I'm not saying everything like literally. Like everything is never literal in work. Like I think, and people have told me that, that actually makes my work a little bit sometimes harder to digest because it's so metaphorical, and maybe sometimes it can be considered abstract in the way I present it. But when I'm in a performance mode, like, I think the emotionality, I think people will understand my emotional reservoir that I pull from whenever I perform. But in terms of my own vulnerability, yeah, like there are times where I've stepped off the stage and I've been like tearing a little bit. I've been like, or I have like an anxiety attack after I perform. Like that's happened before. Like there was one time I was in I performed at Manhattanville College in Westchester, and there was like 1,500 people in the room, and I was like, oh my, and I was only like 20. And I was like, oh my God, like, like, you know, like, what am I gonna, like, you know, and then like, what am I gonna do? So I had to like, I kind of like blocked out. I kind of like imagined that the audience wasn't there, and I closed my eyes and I said like a chant to myself, and I was like, I'm gonna get through this. And I was performing with another a deaf poet by the name of Black Ice. I don't know if you know of him or not, but he was on HBO Deaf Poetry Jam.
From Philly, right?
Yeah.
Dope artist.
Yeah, he's amazing. So I was on the same bill as him too. So I had to follow him. I think I came up after him or something like that. So I was like, oh man, like so I, you know, I mean, and you know, and his work is very hard hitting, like, you know. But anyway, so I mean, I think each situation is different. And in terms of vulnerability, I pull from different different parts of my toolbox to basically like have safeguards in place when I perform. You know what I mean?
So what do you think? And I'm gonna ask you this question and one more, then I'll let you blaze the stage again. Right. What do you think, in your opinion, separates a good poem from a great poem?
Okay. I think a good poem, I think a good poem is one that is I think that is like, I think a good poem is basically one that, you know, has like, you know, average language, you know, average diction, you know, gets its point across, but basically is like a fundamental, you know, like basically says what it says, but in like a very like baseline, more generic, fundamental, stock kind of way. But a great poem, like to elevate a good poem from a great poem, it takes a certain like panache. Like you have to put like, it's basically the difference between doing like it's basically like if we're talking like baseball, it's like the difference between doing like a curveball or a fastball. Like what's going to hit the target, or what's going to change that your audience's perception? You know, like what is going to be the most like thought-provoking method of delivery to get that poem into your audience's mind and for it to stay there. A good poem doesn't stay with you. A good poem, you'll forget about it instantly. But a great poem will live on in your mind forever, indefinitely. I think that's the primary difference, you know?
That's a dope-ass answer. I had no answer for the question, so I'm so glad that you that you could answer. Because if someone asked me that same question, I was like, man, honestly, I couldn't fucking tell you at this moment. My final question: over 20 years on stage, what still gives you goosebumps about poetry?
Goosebumps. I think it's whenever I think for me, it's exploring new mediums with spoken word. For instance, I actually have an album coming out, a spoken word album coming out. It's coming out later this month, at the end of the month. And I've been working on it for the last 4 months. and I wrote over the course of 2 years, and I got a grant for it to produce the album. So I think what excites me about poetry, what gives me goosebumps about poetry, what really hits me with poetry is how do I take just the simple act of performing and basically like infusing it into other mediums, whether it be like poetry videos, whether it be spoken word albums, whether it be publishing chapbooks and books, whether it be, whatever methods I can to deliver it. I know someone in my network who actually developed a virtual reality poetry means of like, she basically developed her own poetry avatar. I don't know how she did this, but she used VR technology to do a performance in like another country or something like that. So like
Wow.
there's like so many ways to go about it. And like in my case, like getting a grant to do the spoken word album, it's called Ambrosia. It's coming out, it's 10 tracks. Getting a grant for it was like amazing. Like I didn't think I was going to get it, but I put my heart and soul into the application and I got it. And I worked with like 3 other poetry collaborators. I have a producer. Like I did the whole, and I was able to pay everybody, and it worked out really well. And I'm really excited for everybody to hear it when it comes out. So, I mean, that kind of stuff gets me like, just like that, like keeps me engaged in the art form,
Man, yeah, we're gonna have to discuss. I want to know how to get that grant, man. I gotta. That's something I'm very, very interested in. So we're getting ready to let you do your final 3 pieces. After your 3rd piece, I would love for you to let everyone know where they can find you, where they can purchase your album. If you have anything like that, just let the world know where they can follow your pen, man.
Right,
This has been a dope show. But the mic is yours.
All right. Okay. Let's see. What am I going to do? Okay. I'm going to do an older piece called Blood Pact. Spelunking in sand dunes of lived epiphany. Moments featuring contemplation, risk a cave-in of the mind. Psyche grappling with monoliths of loss. Long-winded internal monologues threaten to sabotage progression. Thoughts on the defensive, playing inside the paint, layups, shattering glass. We are either heroes or villains of our own stories, without obligation for repeat appearances, crafting ongoing narratives spanning multiple issues. Flipping pages of graphic novels that encapsulate visual and auditory stimuli. Origin stories and arcs of triumph, sacrifice, victory laps. Crafting bigger pictures, seeing macrocosmic elements take effective root, honking, hollering, passerby complete passages of a soul's nomadic journey, selfishness sold in bulk, selflessness cashed out, cards folded, chips in, poker faces drop their mystery. Misery loving company, let richness of moments lived provide solace, no room for morbid solemnity. Ancestral flickers act as homages to yesteryear, a healthy dose of self-imposed isolation. Limitations leave scars like misplaced tattoos tagged on porous skin. Motors running. Automobile needs a catalyst to reach maximum torque. A home on the road, traveling tunefully town to town. Techniques can be transitory, like transient, globe-trotting beings remaking worlds in their likeness. Favorability ratings of politicians plummet without recourse. Irrespective of agenda, not everyone is an accomplice. Adjust your expectations accordingly. Don't go catatonic, body seizing up from sensory overload, foaming at the mouth, books filled with portraits of bodies without faces, no identifiers, a bunch of John and Jane Does. Search for incriminating evidence. Crimes against populaces committed by conniving oligarchs who twist power structures for personal gain, make it rain, overflow of capital, yet cities go underfunded. A pact is made, but it isn't signed in blood. That's the first one of the three. This next one is called Pandora's Reckoning, and I wrote it. I wrote it around the Charlie Kirk. I wrote it in response to gun violence, basically. Bullet rests in its chamber, savoring silence to take the shot. Sniper scope solidifies target from high altitude, thinning air wafts. Below, teeming streets alive at night, a buzzing metropolis unravels. Party goers and businessmen crisscross on uncertain catwalks, where sounds of pins dropping send shockwaves. Ulterior motives forebode. Ideology is shaped by intelligence. Belligerence, a byproduct of ignorance. To be blissfully unaware is easier than confronting harsh truths. America is overrun by trigger-happy simpletons who salute a leader who withhold their best interest, dangling it like the ripest fruit in front of salivating tongues. Bullet fires. Fully loaded magazine pumps ammo. Crowds scatter. Children shriek, covered by the angelic hand of their mothers, who use their bodies as shields against terror. A single teardrop somersaults down their faces as rosy cheeks turn black and white, skin losing its natural pigment. Investigators canvass dimly lit areas, back alleys and esplanades, searching like the greatest gumshoes, weeding out harbingers of hatred. Night evaporates into daybreak. Tired bodies litter sun-drenched streets. No one is any closer to solving the puzzle box. Pandora's Reckoning, blurring, reflective sight. That's the second one. And the last one is called Art's Arsenal, and it was published just this year in the New Generation Beats anthology by the National Beat Poetry Foundation. Here it goes. It's called Art's Arsenal. Watch as poets become poems. Spectate as comedians turn jokes outside in. Listen as musicians symphonically stir, writing riffs in between hard-hitting lyrics, softly delivered melodies. Call them entertainers or modern-day troubadours. Anoint them revolutionaries, for their crafts, like finest patchwork, is woven with meticulousness, calling us all to the fore without any forbearance. You cannot simply dismiss us like student loans you prefer not to pay. You cannot pierce a soul in need of bearing itself sans bravado. You cannot quell raging tides with empty salutations, false promises, unearned merits. We arrive at temple in shamanic retreat. Our past lives indicate We were members of Shakespeare's Globe Theater. We were the dock workers reciting orally in between double shifts. We were the unannounced ones, like covert messages in bottles careening in whitewater waves, bottlenecking at shorelines. Keen observations are one of our many superpowers. Covalent bonds, sharing the very best components to serve a brighter, more urgent now. Blades of grass that can sometimes cut into anemic skin don't allow us to bleed out and wither. March on, speakers of houses, occupiers of vast vestibules. We may not pack stadiums just yet, but we need no artificial amplification for our sentiments to carry globally. Get them to sign on dotted lines. Get them to commit to palate cleansers and mainstay chart-topping number ones alike. With bold steps, prey becomes conqueror. Kings and queens copulate, producing offspring with equal wingspan. It's in fabrics, in molecules, in DNA substrates, in vials, collected from scenes of battles, remnants of real Avengers. Watch as poets become poems. Spectate as comedians turn jokes outside in. Listen as musicians symphonically stir, riding riffs in between hard-hitting lyrics, softly delivered melodies. Yep.
Man, I had so much fun tonight, man. You are truly a dope ass artist, bro.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, man. Thank you.
So,
Appreciate that.
so please tell everybody where they can follow you, follow your pen, where they can purchase any products. Let them all know.
All right. Well, for the album, it's not out yet, but you can follow it on Instagram. I have a page for it. Ambrosia, Ambrosia, the album on Instagram. I also have another Instagram page, just my own poetry page. It's just Douglas. Douglas G. Cala, like it is on this page on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it's also the same on Facebook. I have a poets and writers profile, pw.org. You can just type my name into Google and it's like the first hit. It's poetsandwriters.org. It features all of my some videos. It features my publication credits. It features my upcoming gigs. It's got everything on there. So and of course my bio and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, what else? I don't think I have anything else to plug. I mean, that's pretty much it. I have some features coming up in New York. I'm featuring at a book release show at this place called Otto Shrunken Head, which is happening on October 28th. And then I have some other gigs. I think I have a gig in late September that's still being worked on. But I have a couple of gigs coming up in the next 2 months. So look out on all my pages for all that stuff. Yeah.
No doubt. Well, once again, on behalf of PenTellectual Conversations, I want to say thank you so much for, extending your time with us, man. You were a pleasure to host, man.
Thank you.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Thank you so much, man. We're going to go ahead and drop you off the stage for the moment.
Right.
And we're going to get to the next section of the show, man. We got a few things going on poetically, so let's run it. So the first thing we're going to run it about is my sister, that show, Poppy's Poetry Corner. Y'all know what it is. Every 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Wednesdays, Poppy's Poetry Corner takes over the airwaves on YouTube, and she brings the energy. So y'all make sure you don't miss that show. Also sponsored by Coastal Sunflower Body Scrubs. You know the deal. Add the .com to get you some. The next thing we go running about real quick is the Dripnotist. The Dripnotist is an audio soap opera about two children who have been diagnosed with multiple personality disorders. So while they navigate life through mental illness, they take a glimpse of how their support system looks while living in the city of Birmingham, Alabama. So this Clubhouse production is written, edited, and produced and directed by Kenya Wilcox, aka Songbird. Co-written, co-edited, and co-directed by Jay Graham, aka the infamous lyricist, and Acion Owens, aka Panda. That's my guy. The next thing we go run it about real quick is also a sponsor for tonight's show with Curls and Convo. I need you to tune in to this event hosted by Khadijah called the 4th Annual Curls and Convo Natural Hair Summit. The date is October 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It is a virtual event that is centered on empowering the culture through natural hair justice and self-love. She's worked hard to make sure that this event blends culture, advocacy, and business, and this event is for women and men. There will also be guest speakers, licensed hair care professionals, hair care specialists, and business owners, empowering and equipping the community with invaluable gems about the beauty of our hair. Also, you can expect to see some poets and artists from our Clubhouse community that we all know and love, and they will be spitting pieces that they wrote specifically for this event. So everyone is invited, and you can grab your ticket at the ticker link that just passed by. Next, we have, if you are in the Lafayette area of Louisiana, Lafayette, Opelousas, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, whatever that is, we have on September 20th, Mic Check from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., starring a good friend of mine, Toy, the Poetic Beauty. As you see who's going to be on there, it's going to be a live show. So if you are in that area at 902 Johnson Street in Lafayette, Louisiana, make sure y'all pop through. And last but not least, on Let's Run It, we have the Seafood Social Spoken Word Slam featuring my motherfucking friend, Midnight the Poet. It's going to be Friday, September 19th. Doors open at 7:30 and the show starts promptly at 8. It's going to be a 2-round slam, and it's going to be some food there, so y'all go get fed lyrically and physically. So that's all we have for the Let's Run It. So we are at the end of the program, y'all. Let's go ahead and wrap this up a little bit. So I love you, Dara. All right, so listen, no matter what you're facing, keep pushing. Every step counts. A lot of you don't even realize it, but you're stronger than what you think, and you're smarter than what you give yourself credit for, and you're worthy of everything that you're chasing. Keep shining, keep growing, and never apologize for being unapologetically you. From all of us here at PenTellectual Conversations, man, we see you, we appreciate you, and we love you. This has been another episode of PenTellectual Conversations, where dope poetry, deep dialogue, and unapologetically real energy lives. Remember that you are great and that we love you. So once again, we out.
Thank you for vibing with us. We hope tonight's conversation inspired a creative spark in you. So go out and show the world who you really are. And we'll see you next time on PenTellectual Conversations.